Welcome to episode 50 of your CYSA Plus Prepcast. In this episode, we will explore the dual concepts of threat hunting focus areas and active defense strategies, two of the most proactive and advanced tactics in a cybersecurity analyst toolkit. Unlike passive defense mechanisms that wait for alerts, these approaches are rooted in intentional action and strategic observation. Threat hunting allows analysts to uncover stealthy adversaries that may already reside within the network, while active defense involves deliberate countermeasures to deceive, delay, or disrupt an adversary's operations. These practices align directly with your CYSA Plus exam objectives and are vital for professionals seeking to move beyond basic monitoring and into advanced operational defense. Today, we will focus first on where threat hunters look and why it matters, and then transition into how active defense gives organizations a tactical edge. To understand threat hunting, we must begin with its definition. Threat hunting refers to the manual and proactive process of seeking out hidden cyber threats within an organization's environment. Rather than waiting for alerts to fire from detection tools, the analyst initiates investigations based on intuition, intelligence, or observed anomalies. Threat hunting assumes that adversaries may already be present in the network, and thus the goal is to identify threats that have bypassed or evaded traditional security controls. This proactive stance allows organizations to detect sophisticated attackers earlier in the intrusion lifecycle, often during reconnaissance or initial lateral movement, when damage can still be contained. One of the most effective ways to start a hunt is by focusing on critical systems and high-value targets. These systems often represent the most attractive assets for attackers, and thus deserve the highest level of scrutiny. Examples include customer databases containing personally identifiable information, financial transaction platforms, executive communication systems, and source code repository. By narrowing the scope to these sensitive zones, analysts prioritize their attention on assets that, if compromised, could have the most significant organizational impact. Focusing on crown jewel assets also helps define meaningful hypotheses to guide the hunt and limit distractions from lower priority systems. Another primary focus area for threat hunting is network traffic analysis. Analysts meticulously examine logs, flow records, and packet captures to identify patterns that deviate from normal operations. These deviations might include unexpected communication with foreign IP addresses, unusually large data transfers outside business hours, or beaconing patterns consistent with command and control activity. Threat hunters use tools like Wireshark or NetFlow analyzers to dig deep into communication layers, correlating endpoint behavior with external interactions. By assessing who is talking to whom, when, and how often, analysts uncover covert tunnels, data exfiltration attempts, or lateral movement that would otherwise remain hidden. Endpoint activity represents another essential hunting area. While network visibility shows how systems interact, endpoint data reveals what those systems are doing internally. Analysts rely on endpoint detection and response platforms and manual inspection techniques to review processes, user activity, file system changes, and registry edits. By analyzing execution chains, startup behaviors, or unauthorized file access patterns, analysts can spot malware infections, privilege abuse, or stealthy persistence mechanisms. Some threats install silent backdoors that evade antivirus detection, but can be caught through forensic analysis of execution paths or anomalous process behavior. User behavior analytics is a specialized and increasingly important focus area. Many cyber attacks begin with or exploit legitimate user accounts, whether through phishing, credential reuse, or insider threats. Threat hunters look for anomalous login patterns, such as repeated logins from distant geographic locations within impossible timeframes, also called impossible travel. They investigate access to sensitive resources outside normal hours or unusual data downloads by non-technical staff. These signs often indicate account compromise or abuse. Behavioral baselines help identify deviations that signal a deeper issue, particularly in environments with high employee mobility or hybrid access model. Threat hunters also concentrate on known vulnerabilities that adversaries may actively exploit. With access to threat intelligence feeds, analysts remain aware of newly published vulnerabilities and corresponding exploit techniques. They proactively scan their environments to detect systems at risk, looking for signs of exploitation such as unexpected shell processes, suspicious downloads, or unusual web server behavior. This type of hunting not only detects successful exploitation, but also prevents potential attacks by identifying vulnerable systems before they are targeted. Pairing vulnerability knowledge with behavioral observation gives analysts a sharper edge in preemptive detection. Another area of focus lies in examining configuration settings and identifying misconfigurations. Even when software is fully patched, insecure configurations can leave doors open to attackers. For instance, overly permissive file shares, open remote desktop services, or misconfigured firewalls can be exploited for lateral movement or privilege escalation. Analysts comb through group policy settings, cloud access controls, and network ACLs to spot deviations from the security baseline. This type of hunting helps prevent exploit chains that rely on configuration drift rather than software flaws, and reinforces compliance with organizational hardening guidelines. Segregated or isolated network zones can also be prime targets for adversaries seeking to evade detection. These segments, such as development labs, IoT subnets, or air-gapped environments, often receive less monitoring than high-traffic corporate networks. Threat hunters must not overlook these quieter zones. Analysts examine traffic patterns, endpoint behaviors, and asset inventories in isolated areas to identify unapproved devices, malware drop points, or internal reconnaissance activity. In many cases, advanced attackers use these neglected environments as staging grounds for deeper infiltration. A recurring and high-priority focus is placed on business-critical assets and processes. These include ERP platforms, payroll systems, supply chain management tools, and cloud-hosted applications that directly support operational continuity. Any compromise here could disrupt essential services or jeopardize sensitive business functions. Threat hunters design searches around these systems by reviewing access logs, process behavior, and integration points. For example, abnormal connections between a cloud-based CRM system and an unknown internal host might indicate unauthorized data bridging. This level of focused hunting is essential for maintaining trust and uptime in digitally dependent operations. Finally, threat hunting focus areas must remain flexible and continuously adapt. Analysts revisit their priorities based on threat intelligence, changes in infrastructure, lessons learned from recent incidents, and shifts in adversary tactics. As ransomware groups move toward double extortion and attackers exploit supply chain links, hunting strategies must evolve to address these changes. Periodic reassessment ensures that hunting activities remain targeted, efficient, and aligned with real-world threats. Analysts who update their hunting focus areas regularly ensure that their techniques do not stagnate and continue to deliver meaningful detection value. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are more security courses on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. Now let's turn our attention to active defense, a complementary and equally powerful practice alongside threat hunting. Active defense refers to a set of proactive cybersecurity tactics that enable analysts not just to detect threats, but to engage with and disrupt adversarial operations as they unfold. Rather than waiting for a breach to escalate or for data loss to occur, active defense empowers defenders to insert friction into the attack process, observe adversary behavior in real time, and even shape the attacker's perception of the environment. This approach builds on detection, but adds strategic deception, interaction, and disruption techniques that go well beyond conventional monitoring. Within the context of your CYSA Plus exam, active defense exemplifies advanced analyst behavior, preparing you to defend in dynamic, contested digital environments. At the heart of active defense is the shift from passive to proactive posture. Traditional cybersecurity focuses heavily on detection, logging, alerting, and incident response after an event has occurred. Active defense flips this approach by allowing analysts to intervene during an attack, change the attack surface, and confuse or delay the adversary. This change in mindset allows analysts to detect earlier, respond more flexibly, and shape the outcome of incidents in real time. Whether by slowing lateral movement, feeding attackers false information, or isolating systems quickly, active defense strategies turn the defender into an active participant in the cyber engagement. One of the most effective techniques used in active defense is deception technology. This includes honeypots, honey tokens, and decoy systems, each designed to appear legitimate while actually serving as traps. Honeypots are fake systems designed to attract attacker attention, giving defenders visibility into attacker methods and behavior without risking real data. These honeypots can simulate servers, workstations, or services, and are instrumented to log every action the attacker takes. This intelligence allows analysts to understand how the attacker gained access, what tools they used, and what targets they prioritized, all of which are useful for improving defenses elsewhere in the network. Honeypots serve several important purposes in active defense. First, they function as early warning systems, detecting intrusions that bypass primary defenses. Second, they delay attackers by wasting their time and effort on decoy systems. Third, they gather forensic quality intelligence without compromising production environments. Analysts use the data collected from honeypot interactions to refine detection signatures, identify new malware variants, and map out the tactics, techniques, and procedures used by adversaries. The presence of honeypots can also shift attacker behavior, forcing them to be more cautious and thereby slowing their progress. Honey tokens take deception even further by embedding false artifacts throughout real systems. These artifacts might include fake credentials, decoy documents, or non-existent network shares. For example, a spreadsheet titled executive_salaries_Q3EXHX might actually be a monitored decoy file placed in a file server directory. If an attacker accesses or exfiltrates this file, the action triggers an alert revealing the unauthorized access. Honey tokens are low-cost, low-risk tools that provide high-fidelity alerts because legitimate users are unlikely to interact with them. They're particularly useful in identifying insider threats or attackers who have already obtained access through credential compromise. Beyond deception, active defense includes real-time countermeasures aimed at disrupting the attacker's ability to operate effectively. Analysts may deploy network targets, deliberate slowdowns that frustrate port scanners, or malware communication protocols. Other tactics include blocking known command and control IP addresses, changing firewall rules dynamically based on observed activity, or redirecting malicious traffic to null routes or sinkholes. These techniques buy defenders time, reduce attacker momentum, and limit the scope of the breach. While they require careful configuration to avoid disrupting legitimate services, their tactical use in incident response can be game-changing. Active defense also includes dynamic adjustments to network segmentation and access controls. For instance, if an internal workstation begins behaving suspiciously, analysts may isolate it from the rest of the network by moving it to a containment VLAN or revoking its access to critical systems. This type of micro-segmentation prevents lateral movement and helps contain threats before they escalate. In some environments, this can be done automatically through orchestration platforms, but in many cases, analysts make these decisions manually based on observed risk and context. Collaboration is another crucial dimension of active defense. Cybersecurity analysts often work with law enforcement agencies, information sharing and analysis centers, and other industry partners to disrupt adversary infrastructure beyond the local environment. For example, if an organization detects a phishing campaign targeting multiple institutions, it may share its findings with a government CERT or cyber threat alliance. In return, it receives threat intelligence, takedown support, or alerts about related campaigns. This mutual aid model expands the impact of active defense from a single organization to the broader ecosystem, increasing everyone's collective resilience. Practicing active defense in a controlled environment is essential for refining strategies and validating readiness. This is achieved through exercises such as adversary emulations, red team engagements, or purple team drills. In these scenarios, one group simulates the attacker while another defends, using live tactics and active defense tools. The results of these exercises reveal gaps in tooling, detection, and decision-making. They also allow analysts to practice deploying honeypots, adjusting firewall rules, or responding to honey token alerts in a time-sensitive context. These exercises are invaluable in bridging the gap between theoretical knowledge and operational proficiency. Documentation is just as critical in active defense as in traditional incident response. Analysts must record every deception deployed, interaction observed, tactic applied, and results achieved. This documentation serves multiple purposes. It supports incident reporting, ensures regulatory compliance, enables knowledge transfer, and facilitates post-event analysis. For example, a report might include the attacker's IP addresses, tools observed in use, stages of engagement, and defensive countermeasures employed. Such insights can then inform policy updates, tool configuration changes, and future hunting priorities. To summarize Episode 50, we explored how targeted threat hunting focus areas and advanced active defense strategies allow analysts to shift from a reactive stance to a proactive, engaged cybersecurity posture. Threat hunting provides the foundation by revealing hidden adversaries through intelligent investigation of network activity, endpoint behavior, and user anomalies. Active defense builds on that foundation by adding the capability to confuse, delay, and disrupt attackers in real time. Together, these practices form a powerful framework for reducing risk, improving detection, and strengthening overall cyber resilience. As you prepare for the CYSA Plus certification, mastering these techniques not only enhances your exam readiness, but prepares you for high-impact roles in modern cybersecurity operations. Stay tuned as we continue your comprehensive journey toward CYSA Plus certification's success. Thanks for listening. To learn more about cybersecurity, please visit baremetalcyber.com. There you will find best-selling books, videos, and even more free cybersecurity training courses. Please subscribe to the Prepcast and our various podcasts. And thanks for listening.